Okay, so this is, I guess, part 3 to the other previous 2 videos I've done. This is, in case you haven't seen the other 2, this is about a pandemic exercise that they came out with in 2018. It is completely talking about the massive pandemic we're going through now. It goes into all of the stuff, and in the last video, that clip I was showing you from the Pedro V video, that is like 40 some minutes or something like that into the scenario. So this is going back within 22 minutes of it, but I want you to hear this little part right here where they talk about prioritizing the vaccine.
About their safety and I have been getting strong requests from facilities across the country that vaccine has to be prioritized to ensure that the workforce can continue to treat patients. I'm not sure that we can't do option 1, although I think we need to rejigger it a bit. I don't know how you define business leaders to help prevent economic collapse. That seems a little bit.
Also, one thing I do want to point out, everyone needs to watch this. Please, everyone, try to watch it, or at least watch the Pedro V video. Try to watch what I'm putting out, because he puts out it's like a 7-minute video, and he just puts like that one part in there. That's very important as well. But this one, I'm trying to break down the entire scenario. This is only segment 4. There is 4 segments, and this is the last segment, because I do believe this is very important, and that's why I'm going over this. But they do keep emphasizing and going back and talking about 9/11. They have brought it up like 5 or 6 different times in this, and this thing is, they just keep saying, this initial attack onto us, this terrorism. So also, I do want to point this out, that if you don't know how they do their events or their scenarios or their exercises, they make a pandemic, or they make something happen, and then they have crisis actors, and these people are not really Secretary of State. This is not really National Security Advisor. This is not really this person or that person. These people are playing a role, and they are playing it out to see what the feel of it, and to show people what this would look like. This is an exercise. It's like watching a play or a movie, but they are doing it for a real life event, and they are describing what we're going through to a T. So I'm going to pause this now, and I'm going to show you something else in just a second. But I do want to thank y'all for the people that are still with me now and still watching my videos. Thank you, and please look this stuff up for yourself. It's very mind-blowing, and it's very eye-opening to those of you who haven't seen anything like this. I do also want to emphasize on how it talks about the economic downfall of this, and what all it's caused, the disasters it's caused, the job loss it's caused, the deaths it's caused, but also the massive depression. And as you know, right now, the suicide rates are through the roof, and that's a lot of what they're saying is killing the younger generations. And also, in this scenario, you need a surgical mask. They are on demand. Respirators are on demand. Social distancing. All schools are being shut down. All social gatherings. You cannot go and vote in person. This is in 2018. Remember that. And I'm just recapping a little bit for somebody who might not have seen the other 2 previous videos. Also, I do want to point this part out as well, that if you don't get to watch the whole thing and do not get to grasp the whole thing, within these last few clips I'm trying to show you, I'm hoping that you'll all be able to grasp it yourself. But one of the main things that they keep talking about is needing one person over all of this, one person over the entire pandemic. And they're saying that it doesn't need to be the president, because he has so many other responsibilities daily, that it needs to be someone who is, stuck in charge of just this. And that's something that if you watch this, that's something they talk about quite a bit. And also, like the clip I showed you in the last video about the president being in critical condition, intensive care, ICU, and all of that, and the vice president as well, and then the Secretary of State, that hasn't happened yet in this, what I'm showing you. I just wanted to show you that for the people that don't want to watch the other videos as well.
Control potentially, although I guess it takes a month for it to be effective. So, but I also do want to understand when we're going to start this process, because you said when the vaccine is available. Does available mean when it's actually approved and has gone through all its clinical testing, or are we going to we presumably are starting to use the vaccine now, and as we're doing the clinical testing, we can be doing that in a more strategic way as well.
Yeah, studies are underway in animals, but that's as far as we've gotten. We've begun to do
I see. I thought
testing.
that there was some indication that it had entered human trials. Maybe not.
I think we are at animal trials in the transition to
Okay.
the beginning of human trials.
So the Department of Defense is not listed here in terms of force protection and
I think we
option
have military is the fourth thing down.
Okay, I guess I was looking over here. Sorry.
You're right, it isn't listed on that, but in terms of option one, at least they were included there.
Continuity of government here cannot be overestimated. We already have congressionals who are ill in the Supreme Court. If we lose our government, we've lost all the decision making and the confidence impact that would have on Americans, not to mention our own operations here.
Also, I do want to point out that they are talking about a bunch of riots and protesters who are trying to, basically defund the police, defund the government, and all of that. And one of the main things I want to point out about that is we've seen it massively around here and a lot of other places. And right now, they are doing that over in, I think it's in France and Italy over there. They're starting it as well. They're asking, and there's a couple other places, they're asking their leaders to step down. So their leaders been in control for 26 years and they need to accept new leadership. Also, if the president has this as well, which we do know he claims he had it, we know that they are going to go with, okay, well, he got it because we never see him wearing a mask. At the same time, it's like a huge step in like the political realm to strategically, maybe get people to do stuff. Also, he's like saying it's not that bad, don't be scared of it, all these other things. So we have a lot that comes with that, but also if it gets bad or whatever, then they can authorize a vaccine very quickly to be, distributed again, to everyone. So, and don't forget all these little key factors also while we're watching this. So we know we got the defund the thing, but with if the president got it and he was, incapacitated, and all these other leaders are stepping down, there's a lot of stuff coming up right now about the Pope and the Vatican and what they're doing, and the Pope and the Vatican, they're all raising up the United Nations, and I do believe that they are trying to strategically put the United Nations in control of leadership, which we all know they are. They're all in on this together. They're all part of it, but we know that the United Nations is basically the United Nations with the Vatican and the Pope. All of this stuff is going to be the one world religion, the one world currency, the new world order. All of this goes hand in hand, and I'm very thankful that a lot of y'all that are on here with me, y'all all know that. So, like I said, I highly recommend watching this. The video right now is 9 minutes, so I'm going to play just a little bit more of it, and I guess if I see anything else that's really important, then I will try to do another video. But I don't want to keep doing videos on this. I really want y'all to kind of go and watch it yourself, but at the same time, I know a lot of people don't really have time to do that. So if this video gets a little bit too long, I'm sorry, but I'm going to try to put it all in this one.
Option 4 would be to strategically share it with allies or internationally. I doubt there will be domestic political support for that, but I want to hear Secretary Bellinger, Secretary Talent.
Certainly, we've learned from the beginning on all of this that this is a matter of international cooperation. This illness goes all around the world. We are in it together. I defer to our experts as to whether there is the capability, if this vaccine is licensed, to produce it more quickly in other countries. I would certainly push other countries to do that and to share it with them so that they can produce it not only to protect themselves but to share it back.
So the way that he just put that makes you think of the United Nations once again.
Do we share with those parts of the world that are not capable of producing a vaccine and have no domestic ability? I've asked my staff, and unfortunately it is the majority of the world. It is much of Central South America and the Caribbean, much of Africa. These are countries that without the vaccine have really no ability to protect themselves. Ideally, we are Americans, and we would like to be able to help the rest of the world. The difficult thing is for every ounce of vaccine that we share, is that going to come at a cost to Americans? So I would like some number crunching here from the experts. From what I understood,
why don't you assume that it is?
Well, hold on a minute. From what I understand, we would within a year have vaccine to protect 80% of the population of the United States. If 100% of the population of the United States is at risk, then I'd have a harder time sharing. But if you epidemiologists tell me that statistically really only 60% of the population is realistically at risk, it gives me a bit more that I would be potentially willing to share with others. So it may be that we would have to keep all of this ourselves if for every ounce that we share, we are potentially condemning Americans to death. But if there are some people, Americans, who are at very, very, very low risk, and we can save lives around the world, I would not want to rule that out.
Reactions?
Well, what do we know about who's at risk at this point?
At this point, we don't see any clear risk profile in terms of susceptibility versus immunity. I think it's presumed generalized risk. People who are immunosuppressed seem to be at somewhat higher risk, but in general, the general susceptibility of the population is high.
I mean, we had a number of states from your chart that seemed to have very few cases in them. I mean, my sense, I'm no expert in this, but is that there's some significant part of the United States that at least hasn't been at risk over the last 6 months. And so if we could already cover 80% of the United States, there may be an ability for us to share with others. I really don't like to see us just cutting ourselves off and consigning much of the rest of the world to death.
Secretary Talent?